And this is how we began the North Carolina Mom Bloggers Conference here at Ocean Isle Inn, a conference with a wonderful view of the ocean.
Is this right? I'm really excited about. As y'all know, we've got Eat Think Smile here, and Amy Preston is their lead scientist. Dr. Amy Preston got her PhD in nutrition science from Penn State, and she's actually helped them develop Eat Think Smile, and so we're really excited to have this antioxidant chocolate snack that's really healthy. And if you got into your goodie bags already, you know how great it tastes. It's very satisfying. We love it. So I'm just going to hand the floor over to Amy. Thank you so much for sponsoring the conference with us.
Thanks for having us. They're dried in the sun, so this is just an example of a, sometimes they're on the floor on tarps, or sometimes they're on kind of contraptions like this, but then they're just, dried in the sun, so nothing sounds quite more natural than, washed and dried in the sun. All ground up nibs. Almost like if you would take like an unsweetened baking bar and liquefy it, that's what that is. And so the reason why it's kind of in chunks in this one is because it is solid at room temperature, but if it were heated up, it would be nice and smooth and creamy looking. And again, if this were heated up, it would be liquid, but because of the saturated fat in there, it is solid at room temperature. There's no high fructose corn syrup and no trans fat. So we really wanted to take all that stuff that we heard are of concerns to all of you. And this is just kind of an example of how we really kind of stuck to that wholesome, natural ingredients. If you look at our ingredients statement there on the left, and you look at, say, a Fiber One Chewy Bar on the right, you see that they have kind of a laundry list of ingredients, a bit longer than ours. And you'll also notice that their cocoa has been processed with alkali. So you'll see that right there on the ingredient statements for other foods.
Because you're combining them well. Because I love it. One of my favorite. Is everybody scared?
I have a silly question.
Okay.
What's the difference between categories and tags?
Categories is your base level. Like we have parenting on some sites, depending on what your site is. You would have parenting, you would have food, a few tags, but then you would go in and you put in your keywords.
Why don't you put up your blog or something?
Why don't I do that? Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes. I've had some experiences in the past that I won't share names, but it's totally different people than I thought they were. So just keep that in mind. Well, the reason I brought up Brene, really, is because she said this. If connection is the energy that surges between people, we have to remember that those surges must travel in both directions. It's a two-way road. So if you want to have relationships with people, you have to work at it too. So I just thought that was a great...
Yeah, it can't be like, if you build it, they will come.
Right.
You can't treat relationships like that.
Who asked? That's not a window of time that I'm available, and you have to have faith that the time that you are available is the time that you can do your best work. The best work will be there for you to do. Okay?
Right.
So, are you being taken for granted? Are you letting yourself be exploited? Because again, if you're doing that, you're creating your own chaos. You're creating a disorganized social media experience. You're creating a disorganized... At your work, you know what you're supposed to do. You know what you're good at. You know what you avoid. You know your temptations, how you get off track, right? Let's talk about the 5 things that you can do where the rubber meets the road so that you can maximize your time. First is think like a project manager. Second is family time blocking first, and yes, I put that before work time blocking. And again, it doesn't matter if you work outside the home, in a different job, and you're doing social media personally. Work time blocking, keeping your planner close, sorry, and multitasking with a purpose. I have opinions about multitasking. See, because I'm definitely, you can't have it all at the same time. You can have it at different times. I do not believe in balance as necessarily attainable so much as a general layer of happiness and contentedness, because you make sure to invest your time in the places and spaces where you feel good. I love going to the park with my kids. I hate that I only have a 7-year-old now. The older two don't go as much. That's like a big commitment for me. When I had preschoolers, I'm a park mom. That works for me. I like playing. I made sure to make that window of time safe so that we could do that all the time, because I felt good that way. Okay? So
there will never be a more consistent and best driver of qualified traffic to your sites than Google's natural search, no matter what, okay? Because it's free and because it's consistent. If you rank well on a particular term, that term comes up every single day, and you will get that traffic every single day. So everything you should think about when it comes to how you want to rank when it comes to in Google. Now, there are a million things about SEO, and I'm going to focus on only two, because these are the two that I really care about, and I think are the only things that are really more important, which is content and links. Okay, that's how Google works. Google's algorithm, okay, is that it reads your content, all right, and then it looks to see how many other websites are linking to your content. So if blog A writes something and blog B says, hey, you know what? Blog A, that's pretty good. I'm going to put a link on my blog to hers. Google recognizes that, and Google says, hey, blog A must be offering something of value because there are links to that. I'm going to bump it up in the visibility. And that's how it produces, it decides who comes on the first page and who comes on the 101st page. So your goal is to get links. Okay, that's what you want to do. And I'm going to talk about a number of different ideas that you can use to get more links, because you could write all the content in the world. If you're not getting the links, you will not be as visible, anywhere close to as visible as you want to be, because that's how Google's algorithm works. If you don't have links, it sees, right or wrong, it believes you're not offering something as valuable of content as other people because they've put these links. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're persistent enough, and even to ask, like I have had a few people to say, I've pitched you a couple times, I haven't really, noticed, because I'm not one to just write back and say, I won't work with you because of X, Y, and Z. I don't always have the time to do that. But if you ask, I'm going to give you the right feedback. It's in the same regard, as long as you're open to that brutally honest feedback, because sometimes it might be your site design's not that great. And for what our corporate desire is, I can't necessarily approve that because it wouldn't necessarily match with everything else that we've done. Bottom line, people work with people. Brands are not nameless faces. There are people that work behind it, just like your blog is not nameless. There's a person behind it. If you are real, if you are authentic, and you are yourself, there is a company out there that will match who you are. And I think that that's something that I find interesting. The first